The chapter begins in a dungeon where a man was practically shitting bricks as a dark figure loomed over him. Desperate, he asked the creature what it was, but creepy grandpa, not paying him any attention, simply muttered, "He's not the one either. They're hiding cleverly, aren't they?" The brilliant fragments of light, the tension in the air was suffocating. Creepy grandpa suddenly sensed another presence and turned to find Yogamont, the monarch of transfiguration, just casually standing there like he owned the place. Yogamont came bearing news, something about the East Island. Creepy grandpa scoffed, recognizing it as the land of the Shadow Monarch. He asked Yogamont if he was planning to deal with that place. Yogamont told creepy grandpa that the rulers had decided to unleash their legions south of the island, and he intended to take it for himself. Creepy grandpa was both amused and skeptical to hear this. He then asked Yogamont about the Shadow Monarch. Yogamont smirked and told him that if a planner fulfills the contract, it'll be fine. Then he dropped the bomb that the greatest fragment of brilliant light has been confirmed to be in that place too. That got creepy grandpa's attention. His eyes gleamed with excitement as he said, "You came all this way just to tell me that?" But before their scheming could go any further, creepy grandpa suddenly stiffened. He was sure that something was off about this situation. He then told Yogamont that they had been lured here. Just then another figure stepped into view, radiating hostility. Creepy grandpa observed him carefully, then sneered. That guy earlier couldn't possibly wield the power of the brilliant fragments of light, so why was there a trace of it here? Then he went, "Ah, I see, you plan to get in our way." The man's eyes burned with fury as he spoke. "That small island to the east, you mean Korea, don't you?" Creepy grandpa, ever the arrogant prick, taunted and asked Ilhuan, what is he going to do about it? Yogamont, growing impatient, reminded Silla that they didn't have time to waste on nobodies. But creepy grandpa wasn't done. Smirking, he turned back to the Ilhuan and challenged him, telling him to try and stop us if you can. That was all it took. The Ilhuan lunged, shouting, "I won't let you escape." His attack came fast, but creepy grandpa blocked it effortlessly with an ice shield, grinning like this was all a game. As the air around them froze over, he prepared to counterattack, and when he did, the entire area exploded into chaos. Inside the Red Gate, Drippy Woo's shadow army was already farming these monsters like XP in a low-level dungeon, but the boss had the audacity to act tough. This oversized fool took one look at Rizzy-Woo and laughed at him. Jinwoo was nothing but a bug, or so he thought. Jinwoo just smirked, gave the signal to his shadows, and suddenly the forest started spitting out shadow soldiers like a horror movie gone wrong. The shadow army made quite an entrance holding his minions' heads. The boss, now realizing he fumbled harder than a beginner in ranked mode, tried to call for backup, but all he got in response was a corpse flying at his face like a disrespectful delivery service. Desperation hit, and he screamed at his remaining henchmen to do something, anything, but it was already too late. Jinwoo's army was already tearing through them like a hot knife through butter. Seeing his forces getting folded, the boss finally snapped and charged straight at Jinwoo, thinking he still had main character energy. That lasted all of 5 seconds before Baru and Igris tag-teamed him like they were auditioning for a WWE match. Baru sliced off an arm, Igris took a leg, and before the boss could even process the L he just took, Tusk stepped in, flexing his inverse gravity, slamming the guy to the ground like he owed him rent. Pinned and defeated, the boss could only watch as Jinwoo casually strolled up, looking like death itself, and said, "Now you'll answer my questions. It'll hurt less if you do." The monster, now in its "I regret everything" arc, barely had time to process before its miserable existence was cut short. Standing over the lifeless body, Jinwoo sighed, thinking how the system still wasn't giving him anything. He muttered to himself about how this had to be some kind of interference, but he shrugged it off, thinking that he'd get his answers sooner or later. Then, reaching into his inventory, he pulled out the key from the cursed random box, a key to Cotton On Temple. As he examined it, a countdown appeared, ticking down the time before he could enter. Flashbacks hit him as the memories of that dungeon, the nightmare that started it all, flooded his mind. But this time things were different. This wasn't the weak, desperate Jinwoo of the past. This was Drippy Woo, the aura farmer, and if the system was calling him back, then it better be ready for what was coming. Jinho was sitting in the office, handling business like a wannabe corporate overlord. He scoffs at complaints from the people he sued, calling them crybabies. After finishing his work, he leans back, convinced he's wiped out all the slander against Jinwoo, but just as he starts to relax, the man himself materializes behind him like a ghost. Jinwoo casually says, "You sure are working hard." Jinho, still getting used to the fact that Drippy Woo moves like a damn ninja, can only think, does this guy even make noise when he breathes? Jinwoo asks if there's been any trouble. Jinho reassures him that everything's running smoothly, and then immediately gets distracted by Jinwoo's outfit. Before he can ask, Jinwoo tosses a bag full of magical cores onto the desk saying, "You said we needed money for the guild." Jinho, seeing that, grins and says salaries won't be an issue anymore. But Jinwoo looks at him confused. Jinho reminds him they still need to hire another guild member, which means they actually have to pay someone. Jinho, nodding with fake seriousness, suddenly brings up the real crisis at hand. They need a guild name. Jinwoo, thinking it's something urgent, looks at him unimpressed as Jinho dramatically declares this is very serious. Jinho starts throwing out the worst names imaginable. Sungyu Guild, Wooho Guild, Jinjin Guild, like he's running a kindergarten naming contest. Jinwoo, probably tired of the nonsense, decides to call it Solo Play Guild, with the most nonchalant explanation. After all, it's a solo play guild. Jinho stares at him, wondering if that was supposed to be a joke. Before he can question it, a knock at the door interrupts them. Jinho goes to check and is stunned to see none other than Mommy Cha herself was standing there. She asks if this is Jinwoo's guild office, and Jinho, still processing, nods. But when he asks why she's here, she hits them with the unexpected. She tells him that she wants to join their guild. As they sit down, Jinwoo, still making sure he heard that right, asks her to clarify, and with zero hesitation, Mommy Cha simply repeats what she had just said. Jinwoo stares at her, completely lost. He wasn't sure what the hell was going on. He asks Mommy Cha if the chairman told her to join, or if maybe Hunter Choi got tired of her and kicked her out. Mommy Cha shakes her head, saying that's not the case. Jinwoo, now serious, leans in slightly and asks if that's not the case, then why did she want to join his solo player guild? Mommy Cha blinks, caught off guard by that ridiculous name, and asks if he seriously named it that. Jinwoo, unbothered as ever, replies, "Yeah, what's wrong with it? The Vice Master and I agreed on it." Jinho immediately protests, saying he never agreed to anything, demanding he reconsider the names he had suggested. Jinwoo questions her contract, pointing out that it's only been 2 years since her awakening, meaning she's still bound to the Hunters Guild. But Mommy Cha casually says she has enough money to pay the penalty. Jinwoo, now even more confused, wonders why she was so desperate that she was even willing to pay a fine just so she could join his guild. He tells her the guild isn't exactly rolling in cash, so they can't offer her anything close to what she's worth. Mommy Cha shrugs it off, saying she doesn't need a down payment. Jinwoo narrows his eyes, still not buying it, and asks, "Then why join us? There's nothing for you to gain here." Mommy Cha hesitates, her mind racing. She wasn't sure how to explain this situation to this dumbass. She was concerned that no matter what she said, it would sound insane. At first, she was just drawn in because his mana didn't smell like the others, but during the Jeju Island raid, she really thought I was going to die, but then Drippy Woo saved her. The scene shifts to the past where Mommy Cha wakes up in a helicopter after the raid. She groggily asks the chairman where they are, and he tells her they've just landed at the Hunters Association and that she'll be sent to the hospital soon. But Mommy Cha's only concern was Jinwoo. She asks if he was the one who saved them. The chairman confirms it, and Mommy Cha, still processing everything, thinks so it wasn't a dream. Back in the present, she struggles to put her thoughts into words, her face slowly turning red. She wasn't sure how to tell Jinwoo that she wanted to stay by his side till the very end without making a fool of herself. Jinwoo watches her, now even more confused. He wonders why was Mommy Cha acting all strange. As Mommy Cha tries to pull herself together, he grows more impatient. He asks her if she was planning to answer him. He can see she's hiding something. Finally, he asks again, and this time, Mommy Cha snaps out of her thoughts and quickly says, "I just want to live comfortably. Is there a problem with that?" Jinwoo stares at her, thinking Mommy Cha is only 22, and being an S rank must be exhausting for her. Even though her words don't fully convince him, he can tell there's more to it than that. Mr. Aura Farmer watches Mommy Cha closely. He knows the hunters took a beating during the Jeju Island raid, so he gets why she might want to change. But just because she wants in doesn't mean he's handing her a free pass. He told her that if she wants to join, then she has to pass the entrance test. Mommy Cha raises a brow and says that wasn't in the recruiting notice. Jinwoo, being the menace he is, shrugs and tells her that maybe the guild vice master made a mistake. It's a new rule. Mommy Cha asks about the test. Jinwoo smirks and told her that she has to beat one of his summons. She narrows her eyes and asks if he thinks that she was that weak. Drippy Woo doesn't even hesitate and tells her that for her he'll use his strongest summon, That wipes the smugness off her face. They stand up and she asks, "When's the test?" Drippy Woo, never one to waste time, simply says, "Right now." He suggests using the gymnasium at the association and starts thinking this is the perfect opportunity to test whether he can use shadow exchange with two people. He steps in close, his voice low. Wrapping his arms around her, he told her that she didn't have to leave, as he'd use a shortcut. Bro was rizzing, and he wasn't even aware of that. Mommy Cha barely has time to process before he adds, "We just have to stick together for a bit." And just like that, darkness engulfs. Jinho walks back into the room, arms full of snacks, only to be greeted by a massive high orc staring right at him. They lock eyes in pure confusion. The orc, completely unfazed, casually snatches a snack from Jinho's hand and devours it in one bite. Back in the gymnasium, Mommy Cha stares around in shock, wondering how Drippy Woo had done that. Drippy Woo internally was celebrating his successful experiment that confirmed his theory that shadow exchange works like a gateway, meaning he can transport people with him. He refocused and told Mommy Cha it was game time. Mommy Cha frowns, telling him that she doesn't have a weapon. Jinwoo's eyes gleamed as he asked her if she was talking about the pickaxe. She looks at him, all embarrassed, telling him that wasn't her weapon. Mommy Cha lets out an exasperated sigh before heading to the storage room. She glances over the collection. The weapons aren't amazing, but they'll do. Picking out a sword, she steps back into the gym. "Ready?" Mr. Aura Farmer eyes the blade. He asks her if she was sure, as this wasn't her usual weapon. Mommy Cha doesn't even hesitate, telling him that it doesn't matter, as the monsters never fight on our terms anyway, so she'll make do with what she has. He respects the answer. Jinwoo knew that an ordinary summon wouldn't cut it. He needs to give her a real challenge. He raises his hand, summoning Igris. He told Mommy Cha that among my soldiers, he is the best swordsman. And just like that, the room darkens as Igris steps forward. Mommy Cha, sizing him up, asks, "What are the conditions for winning or losing?" Jinwoo lays down the rules for her, saying that you either win by destroying the summon or lose when you surrender. Once they're both ready, Jinwoo signals the fight to begin. But the moment Mommy Cha starts gathering mana, something clicks. "Weapons don't matter, huh?" That line keeps playing in his head. He suddenly stops them. Jinwoo reached into his inventory. Out comes the Demon King's long sword, a weapon that could turn most hunters into dust with a single swing. He tosses it to Igris. Igris doesn't waste a second, activating the sword's ability and sending a devastating wave of electricity straight at Mommy Cha. But before it can land, she dodges effortlessly. Jinwoo watches, impressed, thinking how she's expected to be. She's fast. If that had even grazed a normal hunter, they'd be toast. The battle escalates, and with every clash of blades, the sound reverberates through the building. This, of course, does not go unnoticed. In his office, Chairman Go Gunhee frowns as no one was supposed to be in the gym today. He calls for the CCTV feed, and when the footage pops up, he's greeted by the sight of Mr. Aura Farmer and Mommy Cha throwing hands. As he watches them, a memory resurfaces of Cha's face when she found out Jinwoo was the one who saved her. He chuckles, thinking how he really was blind. With a smirk, he orders the cameras shut off and the logs altered to say no inspection took place. He leans back, content to let the chaos unfold. Meanwhile, in the gym, Jinwoo is staring at something he hadn't expected. Mommy Cha had kicked Igris's ass and was standing victorious over him. She dusts herself off, looking at Jinwoo expectantly. She asks Jinwoo if this really was Jinwoo's strongest shadow. She knew Drippy Woo was holding back, and she wasn't having it. He told Jinwoo to summon his strongest shadow. Jinwoo hesitates. He told Mommy Cha that she might get hurt, but Mommy Cha scoffed and told him that she'll be fine. Jinwoo's expression shifts as a dark aura swirls behind him. Shadows rise, and a chilling presence fills the room as Beru emerges. Jinwoo looks her dead in the eyes and asks her again if she is sure about it.